Hi everyone and welcome to your course with Plato Training. So I'm Michaela and I'm your tutor. So I just thought I'd put together a little short video for you just to sort of introduce you to the course content and things. So yeah, let's get started. So welcome everybody, we're so glad to have you here. So you're completing a course with Plato Training. If you found this video, hopefully that's why you're here. So I'm just going to be covering a few points with you just shortly. So I'll tell you a bit about me and a couple of the other tutors as well, and I'll explain that more in a moment. I want to tell you a little bit about how the course runs, like the times, the days, break times and things like that. I want to tell you a little bit about what you're going to be covering and what to expect, what we expect from you as a learner as well. Okay. So it's a bit cringe having a picture of my face on here. I don't look like that right now. So I'm Michaela and I'm your main tutor for your course. Okay. Now the reason that I say I'm your main tutor is because I am going on holiday during the course. Okay. So from Wednesday of this week, you are going to have two ladies called Jackie and Jill, and they're going to help to support you through your course, so you are not alone, and I'll introduce them in a moment. So, like I said before, I'm Michaela, I'm your main tutor. So I've worked in education since 2013. So I started out by working at a local college. I only worked there for about 6 months really, and then I moved on to a private training provider where I taught maths and English and IT as well. And then I moved over to Plato Training in 2017. So I've been with Plato for it's about 3 years, 3 months I think. But before that, before 2013, I was working in health and social care for about 6 years. So I've worked in hospitals, I've worked all over hospitals as well. So I was actually doing sort of placements in the hospitals. So I worked in the A&E department, I worked on the elderly care wards, I worked in trauma wards, I worked in endoscopy where people get those cameras in their different orifices. I worked in theatres, all over the hospitals. So I have so much experience to be able to share with you all, lots and lots of different stories as well. So when we're on our phone calls, I try and ring you all sort of at least once a week. Some of you may need more than that, and that is absolutely fine. Some of you may just need me for 30 seconds, and that is also fine. But I can also share some of those stories with you on those phone calls. So I also worked in day centres where people with learning disabilities go during the daytime. I worked in nursing homes and residential care homes as well. Mainly sort of care of the elderly in both of those, though I did also care for a lady who was 35 with dementia and bedbound, so that was quite sad. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, the oldest person that I cared for was 108 years old, and she was still pretty self-caring. So I worked in home care. So when I worked in home care, I did sort of a variety of different shifts, to be honest with you. So obviously I did sort of the morning calls where you are sort of helping people to get up and washed and ready for the day. But I also worked much longer shifts. So I worked for quite a lot of the time with a lady who had she'd been living abroad, and she'd choked on a piece of steak, and as a result of choking on that piece of steak, she went into hypoxia, where you lose your oxygen in your brain. So she was completely sort of bedbound really. It was quite sad actually. Again, she wasn't very sort of old. She had 2 grown-up children, but she wasn't old by any means. Yeah, so I worked quite a lot with her. We watched lots and lots of episodes of Only Fools and Horses together. And then I worked for a very long time as a PA, or a personal assistant. Now, not in an office. I worked as a PA for two ladies with learning disabilities. Okay, so one lady had Down syndrome and the other lady had, we call it PMLD, profound and multiple learning difficulties. Okay, so I worked with them on a one-to-one basis, and my role was sort of everyday care, really. So if they wanted to go and watch something at the theatre, we'd go and watch a theatre show. If they wanted to go out for a coffee, we'd go out for a coffee. If they wanted to stay at home, we'd stay at home. It was very much sort of person-centred support in, you know, whatever made them happy, within budget, obviously. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is about me. So I think I've spoken for about sort of 5 minutes on myself. There's much more for me to tell you about myself, but I'll move on to the other two ladies. So your other tutors are Jackie and Jill. Jack and Jill. So Jackie is going to be your second tutor. Okay, so Jackie is very kindly covering my holiday for me. So Jackie's background is more focused on children's care. I've put a little picture of her there. She's a bit pixelated, but you know, you can see her. She's going to be on hand to help you when I would be on holiday. I was supposed to be going on holiday, but obviously with the current pandemic that got cancelled, but I decided to just keep my leave anyway, because it's going to be sunny, so at least I get a bit of the tan, maybe. And then the other lady is Jill. So I don't have a picture of Jill. She looks a little bit like this cartoon, a little bit, not ever so much. she'll like that. I hope she likes that. So Jill, she works for Plato as well. She's going to be on hand to do your reviews, your mid-course review when I'm on holiday. So Jill was a qualified nurse. She worked in general nursing and in mental health before she started working in education. So between the three of us, I think you'll do just fine. I will also give you the contact details of both Jackie and Jill as well. I just didn't want to put them on this video just for, you know, the world to see. So your course here, so days and times and breaks and lunches, let's just have a look at what we're doing. So we're going to be working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We start at 9:30 through till 2:30. And what I would like you to do is I want you to log into Microsoft Teams at 9:30, and I want you to say hello on your group chat, okay? I want you to try and have discussions on that group chat as well. Now the reason that I ask that is because there's one tutor, so whether it is myself when I'm not on holiday, or Jackie or Jill that's working with you that day, you know, there's only one of us and there's 24 of you in the group, so it's going to be very difficult for us to answer everybody's questions all at once. We're more than happy to speak to you, don't get me wrong, but I don't want you to sit there thinking, oh, she's not answering me and I need help and I'm stuck. Use the chat function and try and help each other out as well. You know, start having a bit of discussion on there, just like you would in the classroom. In the classroom, we really encourage teamwork, and it is much harder to encourage it over this remote teaching. But I do hope that you can, you know, take something away from this and, you know, be kind to each other and, you know, perhaps even make a friend. That'd be great. In terms of breaks and lunch times, so I take my lunch break around 12, maybe 12:30 for about 20 minutes, and I'll obviously let you know when I do this, okay? In the classroom, we normally take a break for sort of 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the morning at about sort of 10:45, and then we take lunch around 12:15 for 20 minutes. Do remember to take your course breaks, okay? You're not expected to sit and stare at your computer or your iPad or your laptop or your phone, whatever it is that you're working on, okay? You've got to look after your eyes, okay? If you are getting eye strains, if you're getting headaches, if you need to take a break, just let me know, okay? I don't want you to sit there in pain. Likewise, because a lot of you have opted to do this course handwritten rather than typing it, you're expected to write quite a bit, so I don't want you to sort of strain your hand either. Obviously work sensibly, don't just come on at 9:30 and then at 9:35 tell me that your eyes are hurting and leave, because that's not going to be very productive for yourself. You know, it's about taking short manageable breaks and making sure that your programme is manageable for you to work through as well. It may be that you are able to finish a little bit earlier than 2:30 some days. Some people can sort of just power through and get through it, you know, sort of by midday, 1 o'clock, and that's fine. Whereas other people might sort of take a little bit longer and work till sort of 3 or 4. If you have small children at home, or it's not even small children anymore, is it? It's all children at home. Then it may be that you are having to work around them. Let me know if that's the case. I'm here to work with you on your programme. Okay, so let's have a little look at some course content. So probably the bit that you're most excited about listening to, no doubt. So your course content, so we've got your health and social care course and your dementia course. Now, like I said before, there's 24 of you. Some people are just doing the dementia course. If that is you, if you previously did the health and social care with Jackie or with Jill, then just don't listen to me and wait for me to come on to the dementia bit. Okay, those of you that are brand new with us today, your health and social care course, what we're going to be looking at there's a whole list of things here really that I've just jotted down. So person-centered care, and that means making sure that the care is relevant to that person and it's what they want. Service provision is going to be one of the first things that we look at. So what services are available in healthcare? We're going to look at safeguarding. Of course, we need to look at safeguarding because that is one of your duties of care. Equality and diversity. So there's quite a lot of things going on at the moment with regards to equality and diversity. If we look at the Black Lives Matter protests and things, I think it's so important that we do continue learning all the time about equality and diversity. In the classrooms, I learn so much from having such diverse groups, and I love it. I love the fact that we can be open with each other, and I love the fact that I learn new things. We're going to look at the principles and values that underpin care in health and social care. We'll look at communication, and then we'll look at 3 specialist areas of mental health, dementia and autism. And then the dementia, if you're unsure, we're doing the dementia as a level 2 bolt-on, okay, just because it really does help people to try and sort of get into work. It gives you that specialist skill that you need. So we're going to look at dementia at level 2. So when you are doing your dementia questions, you are going to have to write a fair bit more than you were doing in your level 1 sections. For your level 2 dementia, we're going to look at how to use person-centered care with a person with dementia. So as you can see, it follows on from that health and social care beautifully. We're going to look at communicating with somebody with dementia. We'll look at equality and diversity, of course. But the main sort of difference between your looking at principles and values in your health and social care and jumping over to the dementia specifics is we're going to look at psychology theories and we're going to relate them to the care of people with dementia. So we're going to look at 2 theories. We're going to look at Maslow and his hierarchy of needs, and we're going to look at Carl Rogers' theory. Okay. We do have lots of slides to help you out on this. Don't panic yet. Okay, so what do we expect from you on your course? A bit of a code of conduct from me. So I know that you guys have been filling in your code of conducts for Kira. I think Kira was requesting them. What I sort of expect from you, what us as tutors expect from you. So we want you to stay in regular contact with your tutor. You know, if there's things going on in your life, if you're perhaps having a bad day, please drop us a message. Just let us know. We are here to support you. What I don't want to do is end up sort of mithering somebody who is already going through something difficult in their own lives, and I may be adding to that sort of stress and anxiety, and I don't want to do that. I want you to try and be as open as possible with me. Hopefully we can build a good relationship, and you know, you feel that you can tell me things. You know, if you are struggling maybe with the work, or maybe, you know, in your sort of wider life. If you are not feeling very well, if you are unable to do the course that day, just drop me a message, just text me and just say, look, I'm not feeling it today. You know, we all get those days. I completely understand where you're coming from. I don't want you to obviously take off the whole course, because we do have a deadline that we need to meet, which is the 30th of July, I think is your last day of your course. So yeah, just keep in contact. We'll set your work every day so that it's sort of more bite-sized, rather than just sort of throwing a load of work at you and saying, there you go, get on with it. But just ring us, text us, chat to us on Microsoft Teams, whatever you find easiest. Please just make sure you get in touch with us. We want you to submit your work after each session, so I've made you all a private folder, which you should be able to see when you log into Microsoft Teams. So it's only me, you and Jackie that can see your folder. Jill's not ever so partial to the Microsoft Teams, so if you hear from Jill, she'll be messaging you on WhatsApp probably. When you submit your work, like I say, it'll be completely private. Nobody else will see it. So if you are working from your work booklet, what I would like you to do is to download an app called Cam Scanner. I really should have written this on here. Excuse my writing. Oh dear. If you're doing your work on your phone, on your work booklet, I want you to download that app, CamScan or Cam Scanner, okay? And then you can take a picture of your work using that app, and it is much clearer for us to read. Just remember though, if you're not able to get Cam Scanner on the app, when you are taking photographs of your work, please make sure there's no fingers in the way of the lens, because that makes it very difficult for us to read your work. We've got to mark your work. Please make sure that you're taking a picture above the work rather than sort of from the edge of your table, because it makes it very hard for us to read. So just be sensible with the way that you take photographs, or ideally download Cam Scanner, because we can see everything from there, okay? If you are struggling to put your work into your private folder, you can email your work over to your tutor as well, okay? But hopefully we'll get to grips with that. If you are working from documents electronically, you can submit them onto Teams straight away in your private folder. That shouldn't be an issue. We want you to come on Teams and say hello at 9:30. This is how we mark you on the register as attended, okay? If you're not saying hello, I don't really know that you're there. I can see bits and bobs on Teams, but I don't have, you know, I can't see you unless you put your camera on, but we don't tend to do that because there's too many of us for one. It'd just be interfering, wouldn't it? And it just creates anxiety that we don't need. So yeah, just come on and say hello, just chat, say hello, morning, how are we today? And I'll be able to mark you in as attended on the register there, so that when the growth company or your job centre ask, they know that you've been attending your course, okay? And like I said before, chat to each other, use your discussion, what am I trying to say? Use your chat function so you can discuss the content of the course. You can add value to each other's answers. The PowerPoints, yes, they're a guide, okay? A lot of it is just my ideas, it's just from my experience and things like that. I want you to use your own experience. Perhaps you've got a mother-in-law who's got dementia and you've got some, you know, real specialist knowledge. Perhaps you've got a child who's got autism, or perhaps you yourself have had mental health issues. You know, when you are working through this, if you are happy to share stories, you're going to add value to each other's courses. And I'll learn from you as well, and I love that. Okay. So this is going to be the end of this video here. Thank you very much for watching all the way through to the end. I think I'm at 20 minutes. I did not expect to be still recording this at this time, but that's absolutely fine. So I am hoping that you all watched this all the way through to the end and that you did engage with it and listen carefully to what I was saying. I do feel like I've shared some quite important information with regards to your course there and how we're running and things. So but do drop me a message if you've got any questions, and I am more than happy to help you. Thank you ever so much for watching. Speak to you soon.